Hello and welcome. Let's go ahead and get started. So, today I am looking at Halliburton, BB, Metsi, and Archer. We're going to go over these four charts in particular. So, for starters, looking at Halliburton as my first one here. What I can say overall is Halliburton is currently going through some changes. I do believe that we're about to start seeing some more downside here in the next couple of weeks to a couple of months. As you can see, we're starting to see that U shape to the downside here on the buy daily. If we kind of zoom out here and go to the buy hourly, we can see that there is a bit of weakness starting to show up here. We're not quite seeing, huge volume spikes or anything like that. Overall, everything seems pretty dwindled down here in terms of Halliburton. So Halliburton is going to start seeing that pullback that I kind of discussed maybe like a week ago or something. It might have been two. Who knows? Let's go ahead and look at the bi-weekly as well since we have a second. As you can see, we're starting to see that spinning top doji, which in about 10 days we'll know if that is what it's going to close at. However, on the off chance that this thing does have a bit of a volume spike, okay, it won't stay up much longer. We do see, potentials of like 46.63 to around 25.16 is what I'm more seeing of a rejection point if we do get a random volume spike. Again, we are seeing this golden cross formation here. And it does have this habit of like breaking down and then crossing. And then this is, if you look, they're tighter Bollinger Bands. Like it's tighter. It's a tighter sequence here. Yes, we can have something like this happen where it reoccurs back from October of 2001 where we suddenly get this huge, high of VHM, volume spike, list of other things where we can see this thing climb up again. However, on the off chance that, that does happen, I will chart for that just so everyone's aware. So we can have a really good idea of the potentialities of this having this run. So let me go ahead and just take from 2001 and let's just see exactly where this could potentially go if we do have, this type of run from this area. However, what I'm going to do is based off this information, right? We have this cross. We're starting to see the cross. So we're going to go to actual price. Again, about 46.42, which is what I said. Now, people love to put this idea in that we're going to see higher highs because this is the beginning of this crossover or whatever. But even then, like I'm just not feeling that this is going to go very much higher. A lot of people are looking more for like the $100 range, but there still needs to be a cool down that happens here. Even in this scenario here, 50.33. I think that's pretty reasonable in terms of this climb. Now we do have this range up here kind of marked for later dates, but we still have to come back down, cool off, reset, and then we will see that continuation towards that upside. And we're on the bi-weekly here, so this is a long time coming of just pullback, maybe months. Again, a lot of people have, money talks more than anything else, but for Halliburton, I do see this pullback happening. A lot of us love the idea of it being completely green for the rest of its life, but that is just not always the case, you guys. Like, we can get like huge spurts like this where we climb and see massive volume and indications of further growth, like 5703 to the top of a 5960, almost $60. Okay. And that's amazing. However, we have to go through our cycles here, no matter what happens. And I think we are about to start seeing that downtrend of this cycle. As you can see, we're starting to see more spinning top dojis across every time frame. And there is a head kink to indicate that we are about to start breaking down. Now, let's go ahead and go to a weekly. We'll start looking at the weeklies. Yeah, we're starting to break down. This is that death cross here on RSI and everything else. We do need to start pulling back. A lot of consolidation, so we could trend here for a little bit while we're starting to see that breakdown. Let's go ahead and look at the monthly, because we were on bi-monthly. Again, head kink to the downside. Let's go ahead and look at the bi-daily. We're already starting to see that breakdown, that structure starting to deteriorate from this hot RSI climb. Now, we can bounce off that 50 RSI line and see maybe a bounce up into these zones here, like that 46.52 to that 50.33 briefly. But then as soon as we reach in between these zones here, I do feel we're going to see drastic downside. Let's go ahead and look at the hourly as well. Yeah, so hourly, these are the short plays. This is where a lot of people play in the daytime, like day traders, this, that, and the other. We check the hourly for, what is the market doing today. Again, we're on this lower area with a head kink to the downside. However, we're bouncing off of this 50 area, which is where we would see the higher speeds or the hot, volume where everything's picking up and we're seeing those spikes, kind of like this right here, where we can play those short plays. But again, this is still kind of in this like consolidatory trend. It's really treading sideways. There's some progression, but it's not strong. And we've kind of been in this uptrend for a while, so I do believe we will, again, see that downside that I was talking about. Let's go ahead and check my 18-day time frame here. This is kind of a specific time frame that I do love to just check, because in 18-day time frame, you can actually see a lot more information in terms of just what's been going on over a period of time. Not quite, what is it, like 14 days for 2 weeks, so it's a little bit over 2 weeks of information. Again, this is kind of that, what would you call this? Not quite the hangman. What's the opposite? The hammer, inverse hammer. Okay, there's that slight pop-up when we do have this. If this closes in the next 13 days, okay, this will have that slight pop-up that I'm telling you, or I have told you guys about. When this does happen, again, it's very short-lived. It's not anything to really go and talk to mom about, which I guarantee, let's just give it an approximate. Yeah, about, again, we're seeing the similarities or the consistencies here, about 46.42 pop up, and then we're going to have this massive pullback, this downtrend. It may not be this, intense, but it could very well be about half of this situation. It could be something, back from 2001. It could be something in here. Again, charts don't lie, and everything is on a pattern. Now, can we see substantial growth in the market? Absolutely, but money has to be there, and right now I do not see money coming into Halliburton at this time. Even with the wars going on and a list of other things, there's just not enough backing at this current time, in my personal opinion. Again, you can do whatever you want. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm just telling you what I see. Potential 46.42 to a 50.33, and then full pullback, rejection. Again, even on the 18 days, I'm seeing the head kink towards the downside, and we are overbought to the extreme on both ends, even in VHM. This is overbought. It needs to cool off. Pullback is incoming. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, but I'm just letting you know what I see in terms of the chart. Hello, how are you? Yep, and that's cryptos are one of those things that are kind of hard to keep track of anyway, unless you have, you go through a company that's a little bit more reliable. In my personal opinion, cryptos are something, it's very hit or miss, and I stay away from anything that doesn't have backing because they'll eat your money. All right, moving forward, let's see here. Archer Aviations is the monthly chart. So let's go ahead and go to the hourly. Going to go ahead and track what we got here. I've been in a consolidatory zone right now, but we are trending towards a particular environment of potential breakout. Let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit more though. By daily, please. There we go. Yep. Okay. So we're heading towards the gravitational zone for this higher area. Last time the gravitational zone was somewhere down here. We did bounce off of this particular area that I did have marked earlier this year. And it just validated everything that I had charted. 481. And believe it or not, I'm almost like on the cent there. We bounced here and we're continuing up in this uptrend. We did cross a significant zone here at that 649 and we actually gapped up on the bi-daily time frame. With this telling me that there is continuation here as well as a potential of a quick pullback down into this zone again just to validate this price. However, if this gap does not get filled, we will probably continue to about a 701 and then rejection again. Okay, this 701, 702 to 703 because I went through a couple of charts that I've done for Archer. So it's about a $7 to a 704 range where we're going to start seeing this rejection come in, where this further pullback will start, just kind of initiate. We're going to still see price kind of come back down, cool off, and then come back up and retest to try to break out. We've been in this falling wedge for quite a while, which you can't really see the whole falling wedge here. But if I take this and I put it up here, this entire wedge has played out. It's played its course. Bounce off of here, and now we're starting to see that incline for further upside, but we still have some price that needs to come and get validated before we continue and bounce off and go towards these other ranges and zones here. I will go ahead and switch real quick. I'm going to throw Archer in this chart so we can reevaluate on this chart, and I'll throw Metsi over here. And let's go ahead and further the analysis here with this chart. So what I've done essentially is I've had a list of different charts that I do in terms of Archer Aviations just because I love to do back testing for this particular company. It gives a really good diagnostics to what could potentially happen for me. So again, we're heading towards this gravitational zone, which the gravitational zone sits at about 750, right? But once we get close to this range or even in the proximity, we can start seeing that pullback or that rejection. Anyways, we do have a ceiling or a potential, area of rejection at that 703, like I was saying earlier. When it does come and touch this zone, it will have a pullback more than likely. And I don't think we're going to cross it this first time. To continuation of that 750. If we do, it'll be very short-lived, and it's due to volume spike. Okay, money talks. And once that does happen, we will start seeing that cool off where we're going to come back down, touch about that 637 to a potential 596 again, just validating price before continuation. About 50% of this bar would be 617. So that would be like worst case. That'd be max pain, with that 596 being like a potential wick down. Not saying that it will go to these zones, but I am saying the possibilities are there. We are still working on crossing certain zones here. I'm also on the monthly time frame, so let's go ahead and go back. We'll head to about an hourly time frame. Again, showing that little bit of a gap here in between price from closing all the way to opening today. I do see that 637 holding true. Okay, if we do come back, we're just going to validate all this price that just happened. Closing this gap probably down to a 630, which seems pretty more probable. We do have a cross here, a golden cross here for the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA, which is validating a and confirming a further increase for upside. However, we still have a couple of things that we do need to validate in terms of price action overall, because this gap will more than likely end up filled. So with that being said, again, about a 703 before we're going to start seeing some major rejections pull back, with a possible slight chance of hitting that gravitational zone just to test price, and then again coming back down and trickling. Once we do start trickling, we'll probably start, our trend to this upside. We'll probably follow this line here that I have, which is, here, let me zoom out again. We'll go to about 8 hours here. This line is just my validation for how price should be climbing in terms of being more progressive towards this upside, which would be a healthy, steady flow of income, like money talks. This would be my line that I would follow in terms of if, we're going to see this breakout and the continuation for further growth in terms of where price can go, about that 1487. On the off chance that we cannot hold this line true, which we'll probably start consolidating and seeing it kind of drift and dwindle off into space here, we'll probably trend between the 750 to about a 637 for a while in consolidation before further upside will be initiated. In terms of time, if we look here, I can kind of give you a rough estimate. It's not going to be 100% accurate, but it'll be a rough idea. So about 28 bars, which is from January. So maybe a month of trend. For previous times we have trended sideways in consolidation. But we do have other consolidational zones that are much longer. Okay. Again, it's all based off of how the money is being plowed into ACHR Aviations at this time. From what I'm seeing, though, this is on its way to making a nice recovery, with slight pullbacks here and there as normal market behavior, just validating price overall, where we're going to see potential more entry zones. If I do open this order block, we can kind of see where people are looking to get more entry. More people are predicting about 488 pullback. This is based off 8-hour data, with a potential of 787 to close to $8 ranges to where people are playing these. Probably, I'm going to guess these are day traders, but let's go ahead and look a little bit further out. We'll go to the daily time frame here. Again, prices that people are looking for are still down here. People are predicting this thing to pull back again. Now, does that mean that they are accurate or correct? No. Okay, everyone has a wish and a dream, and some people like to stick their hand in the sand and hope for the best. But most of the time, if we are going to get any type of pullback, again, this would be more closer to accurate, about a 596 range, which lines up perfectly within where I am seeing a potential wick down. If we do come and validate overall price action, 50% of this overall incline would be a 615. Again, that's where I would buy personally, because that would be true market value. And again, with that off chance of that wick down and just coming in and claiming some of this Munty here, because scared money don't make money, and that's where a lot of this stock kind of they want to reach for the big bucks. So whatever. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit farther, though. I do want to see where people are looking for price. Yeah, so again, about 646. Again, still validating my 596. I feel like that would be the best price other than this small little thread here that is sitting at a 607, which is still fairly close to my 615 prediction, okay? Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you what I see based off the charts and the data. Overall, though, in the next couple of weeks, we probably will see a lot of upside. Okay, we're working our way to speeding up. We still have some time. This thing is still a bit unpredictable at this time. We are kinked to the upside. Once we cross this 50 RSI line here, we will start seeing that speed up, which will it means more volume, more people are in, things are going to start picking up. This is a great time to play those short plays for people who do like to day trade. Again, it's just, make sure you're doing your due diligence and charting your stuff, or go seek a professional advisor in terms of the stock market. But yeah, there is money to be made here. Just be mindful when you are in plays. All right, moving forward, let's go ahead and look at METC. METC. Overall, it is moving towards its gravitational zone. We did already have a rejection here based off the 2-day chart. This rejection happened a little bit before my little prediction line here, but that is perfectly okay. I would rather it be before or after than anything extreme. This is just telling me that these two Bollinger Band lines, okay, which is I believe this is my 5 or 9. I'm sorry, this is the 8, and then I also have the 20, okay, and these two are still kind of like doing their thing. However, they're starting to kink towards the upside, which means price is going to probably start moving a little bit upwards. Again, we're working our way to try to break back above this 40, 50 RSI line. Once we get above that, we'll probably see more, inclination towards that upside, building momentum. Overall, we're still below a particular line that I wish we were above, which would be more of a healthy trend. Until we can break above this area here, we're kind of sitting ducks at this current time. We might consolidate a little bit longer. As you can see, we've been kind of consolidating within this range here between a 1651 to a 1321, which makes complete sense. You know what I mean? We've been in this consolidation for quite a while. I do believe we're going to start trying to break out. We've probably tested not quite twice, but pretty close to twice in terms of just the way that the stock market is moving. About twice. So I would say about 2 times we've tested this zone. We have 3 to 5 times before we'll see an actual breakout in terms of the consolidation. Give me 1 second. I'm going to also, let's see how long this has been going on in this trend. Okay, so from here all the way to here, about 32 bars, which is from February to May. That's been quite a while. February, March, April, May. Yeah, about 3 months. 3 months time. That's not bad. So about 3 months time, we've been trending in this consolidatory momentum. Moving forward, though, let's go ahead and check this out. So yeah, we have the 2 peaks here, double peaks, breakdown, which last breakdown was pretty healthy. This is a pretty healthy breakdown. If we can get a 3rd peak, I'm gonna assume, okay, it's going to be about mid-section here. It'll be probably a little bit taller than this one, but a little bit shorter than this one, which would put us somewhere around 35, 58-ish, maybe a 34.97. Just a rough range here. We won't quite break out of this trend here. Again, it's kind of consolidating in this range between here, in this formation that I have kind of marked out. If I zoom out a little bit farther, let's go to the monthly. You can kind of see what I'm seeing personally. We get about 2 of these peaks. We'll break down, and then we'll have a really big breakout, which, of course, this stock is still fairly new, so there's not enough information. But I'm pretty sure in these first couple of months of its life, years of its life, we'll see pretty consistent patterns until, it's redone, and then it changes its there's a word for it. Anyways, these are put on a system, whatever, it doesn't matter. Overall, I do see the pattern that is performed here. We'll have this is where we're about at in terms of like what is being played out. We're gonna have a slight more pullback, continuation, probably will be a shorter live than this long and drawn out section here. So it'd probably be, maybe about July, and then October is where we're going to start seeing that change and that shift here, which is already marked for me. Again, I chart everything based off of data. I take past history and I can find approximates of what we will see in terms of change. Sometimes I'm pretty spot on, or we'll have a month before, okay, or after. It really just kind of depends, because again, everything is different per cyclical pattern, cyclical time frame. Once we do break out or start to see more of that uptrend again, I do see a potential of that 34.97 to about this 29.96. It could be about $30, honestly. Before we'll start seeing a bit of a rejection. We could wick to this area, but we're going to start seeing that dwindle down about that $30 range. It probably won't be very strong by the time we reach here. Again, I'm starting to see a breakdown as well. So again, there's still some pullback. We're still going to probably consolidate within this range. We'll probably go and touch the gravitational zone at some point this week or next week. We do have a zone that does need to be broken above before we will start seeing it try to reach for the gravitational zone, as well as that 1571, which we're pretty close to breaking out over here at that 1476. In about 3 days, we'll kind of really know if this is the end of a trend or a possible reversal, if it does end in a spinning top doji. Okay. If it does close in the spinning top doji, that means that this is an indecision, but it also means a reversal. So in terms of reversal, what have we been doing? Well, we've been kind of in this downtrend. So this reversal could be that uptrend that we've been waiting for. Again, we'll come and test that gravitational zone that's sitting about that 1709 to approximately 1686. Once we hit that gravitational area, this will make or break the pattern in which way we're going to go. Once we touch the zone, if it does start breaking down, again, we're going to probably trend within that 1571 to a low of that 1469. That'll be our 52-week low. Where we will continue to follow this bottom of this triangle trend, which it did last time as well. During this phase here, it stayed pretty consistently close to that bottom with that breakdown, weaving right out of that triangle formation and then back up in to creating a new set of pattern. Okay. Again, this is all speculation. I am not a financial advisor. Everything I say here doing this is for entertainment purposes only. So do your due diligence. And if you want financial advice, I would seek out a financial advisor. Okay. Thank you very much. Now let's go ahead and move over to BlackBerry. Okay. This is another one I have been following for a while due to some friends, and I do see its potential. BlackBerry has changed its trajectory. It is no longer a mobile device, which is great. You know what? More power to this company. You gotta make changes to thrive in this economy and to thrive in this environment and thrive in this world. So moving forward, we were in this slight upward trend for a while. Again, it's a little bit consolidation area. However, we have started to see this breakout. We have broken above my trend line here. This is actually good news for people in BlackBerry. However, as you can see, we're starting to have a slight pullback. This is just going to be validating price. We could see somewhere around that 691 where we're just going to wick down briefly. If we can hold that 770 for a long time, maybe start a new consolidation up in this higher area, we'll probably see around 1256 to approximately 15-ish, about $13.50 to $15-ish, because I do see a lot of areas up here that are kind of like people are preparing for. But again, 1338 to a 1256. There is a bit of a rejection here, as in previous times in history for this particular stock. That is where we've seen a lot of we'll flick above it briefly, but then we're breaking down. And history does love to repeat itself. And if you see here, this clump here, we have touched this 1256 range multiple times and have rejected every single time. Okay. Now, again, history repeats itself. Once we start rejecting, we'll probably break back down. About that 596 would be perfect entry for anybody who would want to get into this company who hasn't already. Excuse me. Or if you're smart, you'll get in right now while the going is good. Actually, no, I lied. So about $5 would be a good range. Well, it depends. It depends on how valuable this company is to you and what you see in potential in your potentialities. But again, I would wait for the consolidation that will end up happening, because what goes up must come down in terms of the stock market. Anyways, moving forward. Just kind of looking here again, this is a strong breakout. If this breakout continues to follow my strength line here, we will see that 1256 before we will start pulling back. Okay. And on the off chance that we can hold and continue even to follow this other line here, okay, maybe 2252 at best. That would be a fantastic run. However, what goes up that hard must come down harder. All right. So again, pullback would be about 770 to approximately that 496. But yeah, this line here, the strength line that I have marked, I truly feel it is very possible. But we're already starting to reject about here, which is where I was kind of predicting anyways. Because once we start crossing these zones in terms, so this would be strength, this would be trend. This is where we would see that rejection start to take place, and we're approximately in the ballpark. Okay. Moving forward with BlackBerry, prices that I could potentially see for just making some small games, maybe 928 at least to about a $10 range. If you're going to try to push for that 1256, I would not get too greedy with this, because once that pullback starts, it's kind of up for grabs. However, on the off chance that these two cross here, that would be that 50 EMA and the 200 EMA, where that 50 would cross over the 200 and we start to see that uptrend. As long as we stay above this, we could probably be pushed even higher. And it does look like we've had a bit of a volume spike in recent times, back in the 18th of May. So if we can see something, similar to that, because I do see, this has been a overall progression in terms of certain Mondays where we grow. Again, this Monday we weren't open in the market. We're on a Tuesday, so maybe June Monday, possible push to the upside, which is where you would probably get this $10 range that I was talking about, or you can try to push for that 1256-ish range before this rejection starts to end up happening. Again, this is looking overbought. This is based on weeklies. Let's go ahead and check monthlies real quick, because that will also tell us where we're at. Okay, we're starting to see super high, speed in terms of where we're going. This is king to the upside. So yeah, this could push to that $12, and then we're going to start seeing it be overbought hot, and that's where we're going to start dwindling down. Okay, let's go ahead and peek at current time, so about dailies. Yeah, heavily overbought. I'm telling you, this is not going to push, too much higher. Again, I'm still kind of sitting pretty confidently around that $10 range. So for those of you who are trying to do a quick gab, I would try to find exit around $10. But if you want to push for that 12 section, just use your due diligence. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. You can do whatever you want with your money. I'm just giving you what I see from my personal diagnostics. Okay. Continuing on, let's go ahead and just look for potentialities after this thing does have its breakdown and where it could potentially go next. On to the 2 months. Okay. Let's overall look here. Yeah, so there would be that slight little push that I'm kind of talking about. I do see the pattern here. Excuse me. Close to that $15. If we do hit a really good volume spike come June 1st, we could see about 15. If we break above that 1256, about 15. 1550. At most. I wouldn't push for any farther, though. Like where these people are trying to get out, I would not push farther for that. In my personal opinion. Again, you can say or do whatever you want. It's your money. I am not a financial advisor. But yeah. For sure. Excuse me. I probably should get some water real quick. 1 second. Howdy, KBLD. By the way, when I'm over here charting, I don't really see my chat. I need to figure out how to move stuff around so I can see both. But anyways, yes, let me let me finish up real quick on the BB and then I'll head over to HFG. Okay. 1 second. Okay, so basically, overall, what I was just trying to say with BB is once we do start seeing this, what was I saying earlier? Because I had to go take a water break because my throat was starting to get dry. Anyways, yeah, so that $15 range that I was kind of saying, just be mindful, you guys, that zone is going to be really hard to get because there is a ceiling here. We have rejected here before multitude of times, okay? We had a slight divot out, which would actually line up with that $15 range that I was kind of telling you, but don't think that that's going to happen just because we've been in this downtrend for a while, okay? And we're just now starting to accumulate again. Do not get cocky with this. This is how you lose your money. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I'm just trying to help you out for those of you who are playing BB in terms of whatever like you're doing. This could be short plays. This could be like your day trading, whatever. Just be mindful of what you're doing and do your due diligence. Look for an exit that is reasonable to you. I know that a lot of us get greedy because we want more money, but try to limit yourself. Find an exit, and even if it does go above, be grateful for what you get. Again, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I am seeing like if this does continue and it does start to gain more strength and momentum, we could potentially go to that 2252. Just be mindful. Play it smart. Once you start seeing weakness, and you'll know there's weakness because you'll start seeing it contract, and that's when I would start really considering not, staying. But again, you can do what you want. Not a financial advisor, but I will tell you what I feel. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move over to HFG from my friend over here. You're still in here, KBLD? Here, let me double check because. Here, let me see if you're on Discord and make sure that you're here so I can go and do a deep dive for you. Sorry guys, just give me 1 second. I am reaching out to a few folks here. Let's see, you should be in here. Oh, okay, there you are. I was like, I was about to DM you and be like, hey. HelloFresh. Okay, hold on. HelloFresh. Okay. I don't know what that ticker's thing is. HelloFresh. Wow. Okay, there is a few that are under that same ticker. Okay, so let's do this one. I don't know what the difference is here. We got GET text stock. We got regular Zerta, whatever that is. Is there a particular one you want me to look at? Because they all have a little bit of different pricing. There's this one. This is Stuttgart. There's Bulgarian Stock Exchange. There's BX. There's Neo. There's MUN. There's Han. There's Ham. Is there a particular one you want me to, peek at? Let me know, and I will handle business there for you. Okay. Do you know what exchange you're on? If not, it's okay. I will we'll just stick with this one, and then if you figure out like if there's one that you want me to go over, we can go back on it. Okay. All right. It's pretty newer. Let's go to logically I want to start far out. So let's go to the monthly because this is such a new stock. Yeah, it is pretty hilly first off the bat too, and we're back below, which is interesting as well. I'm going to just mark a couple areas that I see in terms of like, you know, just overall momentum and pricing and this and that and the other. I'm also going to check this real quick. Ownership, purchased, put. Okay. German security with the Europe-wide distribution. That's good. That's a big improvement. They've been pretty red on earnings, though. That's rough. With one green earnings with a surprise of 1.19% downside. Ugh. Somebody's bookkeeper is a shit. Probably should be fired. Even this one is a bit undecided here. 30%. Rough, dude. Who's doing their bookkeeping? So I'm going to be completely real with you with how often it's been read and the fact that there's been a lot of surprises. That's pretty good, though. That's a good number, but it still fell. I'd have to do a little more research on this company overall, but let's go ahead and see what we got going on here. On the off chance that we're going to reaccumulate. Yeah, see, it's it's a little bit above like 32.68. It's going to stay pretty consistent overall. Hold on one second. I'm going to do some little diggies here. Let's do the lines. I like the lines. Okay, from here to here where that shift changed. That'll be perfect. Yep, it's broken down now. And we're in a new trend, and this is down right now, which means we could start seeing reversals. However, it's not looking pretty bullish at all in my personal opinion. Let me go to my settings real quick. I'm going to do something. It's 200 EMA. Let's go ahead and change that. I want to be able to know. 9 EMA is like the least of my concern right this second. 50. I'll make my big boys a little bit thicker too. Oh, come back here. And 18 is really the least of my concern, but let's make that's price, so I'm gonna make this guy a little bit thinner. Okay. And this one doesn't have that other price yet, so this would be that 50. 200 isn't even showing up. Let's zoom them in. Let's go to the weekly. Just give me a little bit. Let me study this behavior real quick. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, let me zone that. I think this is about what we want to see anyways. I'm going to work on getting back into the zone. We still have a little bit of time, though. This thing is going to take a while before it gets back to its glory. But it is on sale. So there's that. That's a benefit. Probably should change colors. My 200 EMA is too close. Boom. Now I know. Yeah, and there's that death cross there, which would explain this. But IPO was here, which was 2017, and it did have a really decent run with its max hive being 97.20, which is really freaking good considering. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 trends. And then we're breaking down in that fourth trend. 1, 2, 3, 4, we're entering 4, so there would be a potential climb. Potential doesn't mean it will, but potentiality is still better than nothing. On the off chance that this is a breakout, 4180 likely, but it's still pretty low. Not a lot of volume here, and there was a lot of volume over here and it barely moved. Very interesting. And we had a couple volume spikes here, some good movement here. Overall though, that volume line is, if you look here, volume is kind of dwindling. It's not very strong. So you would need this to go the other direction and start climbing if you want to see that upside. Right now, I think we're going to zoom in a little more, but I think your best bet is this is going to be a long wait, a long hold, in my personal opinion. But let me go ahead and zoom in and get a little bit of a closer look at what we're dealing with here. I'm going to mark it just because I see it. Yeah, there's a fucking gap, but it was filled. There was a gap there, filled. There was a gap there. Did that fill all the way? Zoomy, zoomy. Not quite. Not quite filled, so I'm going to actually move this up slightly. This gap does need to be filled. It was not filled all the way. So about 866.4 possibly. Let's look a little bit more. We need to cross this line. And there was a gap there. We filled that. That was pretty quickly filled too. We have a gap here that needs to be filled. I'm going to keep it below. Keep things a little bit organized here. Still kind of in this falling wedge situation too. And I'm going to kind of just go like that. And it's not quite touching everything either. Here, let's kind of pull in a little more. Touching a lot more. How about farther in though? Not feeling that. They're at worst, and that would be the end of the trend here anyway. So we'll just say about here, which means this would be potential new trend, but new trend is consolidating. Let's look here. 37 degrees. Let's move it a little bit more. And then we had this when we stayed within this zone. 388 being that downtrend. We're not quite crossed over either of the 50. We would need to break back above the 50 EMA before we're going to start seeing trend move. However, here's the good news is we are currently above, not quite, but we are above the other SMA 14 in terms of the RSI. So RSI is above the SMA 14. That is a positive. The negative side of that is we're sideways. And the other negative side of that is we're trending down in VHM, which means unpredictability, which means more downside, which means it's not holding. So that's the bad news. So probably 399.6. We're going to probably come back and retest some of this, if not a 4.123. Okay. So somewhere around there. And God, this is okay. So right now, everything's pretty consolidated. Like it's consolidating. It's going to stay here for a little bit. On the off chance that we do start getting more volume, this, that, and the other. And as you can see here, which there's a lot of stuff kind of in the way, but even on the shorter term of trends, we are, volume is not picking up. It is still very, very down. So what HFG needs is a volume pickup. Once volume starts to pick up, then that's when I would start seeing like maybe that 521 to that 618 range, where we're going to start filling these gaps here. Okay. I do feel like this is in a downside trend, so it's not up. Let's go ahead and look at the hourly because this will give me a little more information. There is a slight golden cross here. However, I can already see that it's about to death cross again, back down. So right now, everything's kind of in small increments. So if you were going to buy, I would buy somewhere around here in this range. We can also check what people are doing right now. Yeah. So this is right above this zone here at that $3 mark. A lot of people are also looking at picking up at 423. More people that are trying to probably keep it above price, honestly. So continue going up. Personally, that would probably be your best bet if you're looking for purchase, or wait for that 412. That's on worst case scenario, okay? And this is also in terms of the 1 hour. So this is like short term. These are people that are playing in the day. So more like your day traders and stuff like that. People who are just looking for a quick pickup. On that note, I would be a little bit wary right now until this thing starts showing more progress to the upside. Because if you look here, like this is crashed and burned, which is good. This means that it's cooled off. It's found its high, right? It was overbought even at this high. So about 444 is where it's peaked. Okay. Let me look here. Hold on. That's pretty close. I mean, it is kind of in a newer uptrend. Very, very small uptrend, though. Not quite big, but not quite like the worst case scenario. On the off chance that we do start to break out, we could probably see about $5, 560-ish. But I still see that 521 being a ceiling for this, so that would probably be where you're more likely to get profit, which is about 50% of this climb. So I would say that's pretty accurate. So again, depending on what you're in, 521 would be your best 52-week high in the next coming months, in my personal opinion. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but just kind of keep your mind there. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I'm reading your chat now. Sorry, my eyes are finally away from the screen for HFG. So yeah, so basically overall what I'm seeing with your particular stock here is like it is in a very weak state, very vulnerable, but this is where discounts are, right? And when this thing does pick up heat, I don't know much about this company, but let's say something big happens, this thing can run, and then you're going to be holding at freaking pennies compared to what other people would be buying in at. So again, there's always potential, okay? Never not think that. Just be mindful of what you're purchasing and make sure the company has strong, values, or this, that, or the other. But yeah, overall though, we are in the lower section, sanctum, whatever, doesn't matter, right? I'm doing the best that I can of this particular formation. So if this does break down, we're going to probably have to wait for the next rotation to happen. So again, this will probably break down, hit that 396 ish. If not, it'll break down to about $4, 405. Okay, somewhere in this range, somewhere in the middle here. That would be a good pickup. And then there'd be continuation. 402, though, honestly seems reasonable because there is that gap there. I don't know if you see that, but there's this price gap here where we had a leap in price, which means there must have been a huge pickup right here at this 396 before. Or 399, which is about $4. Anyway, moving forward. Yeah. So yeah, if this breaks down and it doesn't like stay in this formation here, it's gonna fall. I would look for pickup. And then when this does start climbing, I'd wait for somewhere around here, in my personal opinion, okay, which is close to 423. You would need it to cross above probably back to where it's at right now, that 428, for this to show real true signs of continuation to the upside, with potential of that 521. Okay, that's where we're going to end up seeing a lot of resistance, in my personal opinion. Okay. We can also come back and check this later. I'm going to save this, so when we do come back and check it, we can see how price did move. I will copy this. I will mark price actually for you as well. Sorry. Let me go ahead and do that for you as well. I will mark this one first. No, that's not it. 421, please. Thank you. And then the next one we'll do like this low. That's like worst case. And then this is where, you know, a bounce could happen. Wick down. I'd pick somewhere in between here or even at the top here, because there's a lot of purchasing going on here. So you would have to make that call. And if you're looking to enter something a little more plausible, or reach for that 412, 4123, whatever, 412. Okay. I will send you this screenshot, so then we'll keep track of it. And then in the next couple of probably a week or two, we'll double check on it. Give me 1 second. Let me send this to you. Hope this helps. Did that give you some insight on what you were working on here? Or what you were kind of hoping for or predicting in terms of price? I'm going to hop over here. Okay. Sorry about that. Reading messages and stuff, catching up with some shings. Lots of shings. Okay, I sent you the chart. At least that is done. All right, let's go ahead and peek at a couple other like trending stocks right now. Let's go look at SPY, because I know that's what a lot of people are playing. Let's see what SPY is up to. Again, just never ending climb SPY, and it did bounce kind of where I was predicting to. Jeez. Because in terms of the trend, we broke out, and then it was continuation, and then I had this line here just kind of showing off trajectory. Staying true to the trajectory here. I do foresee this fucker hitting about 828. Motherfucker, dude. Yeah, we're heading to the thousands, man. This thing has been just unstoppable. Do you think they'll do a split? Dude, it freaking pays dividend too. What am I doing with my life? They operate globally and they offer food boxes with fresh food. Oh, dang. I kind of figured with the word fresh being in it, it would have to do with food. So they are a global chain. So they deliver all over, essentially. What did HR say? What did you ask HR? Yeah, I know. What did you ask HR? Human resources? Or was it just more of like, I don't know. Archer's going through some schnit too. It has some fucking issues. Again, I do feel like 703 we're going to start seeing a bit of like pullback and resistance there as well. Is there anything else you can think of in terms of like, oh, Krispy Kreme? I better go do that one real quick. I'm sure that would be another one someone would appreciate. So let me go look at Krispy Kreme. It's D-nut. D's nuts. Oof. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. Yeah, Dina is in, it broke below. This thing probably isn't going to hold very well. 310, dude. Not quite 302, though. That's still good, though. I'd rather it be in that range than fall all the way into 302. A lot of people are looking for sell-off here. 412 seems reasonable still. We did break down, though, and last time we did that, we came back in, so maybe that's what we're doing. We're getting set up for another big push. Because last time we broke like that, we did push. So, let's see. That's a huge climb, dude. Let's say it does something like last time, which would make logical sense. About that 445. Yuppers. I see that in its future, for sure, for sure. If we do have another climb like that, even if we had a smaller one like this, because even that wick counts, right? Even if we had the smaller one for this breakout, it's still around that 440. This thing's about to have another push. I'm sure that'll make someone excited. I'm gonna have to post it in, I'll put that, and then right here as well. Just so it's, people are aware. We do need to get above that 386 for sure. But I ain't gonna worry about that. Two prices here. We didn't quite go down this low, which is a positive. So we're just gonna, I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna also post this somewhere because I do have somebody that is watching D-Nut and I'm sure he'll appreciate seeing that. The charting room. I gotta post all of these today. And just so people can see it. I'm gonna go throw this also in Lions. Just for my friendo. Boom. I'm gonna be like, Joker. Okay, there's that. That one's at least done. And then I can go back to copying all this stuff. There's so much here, though. This one's hard to see. I might have to switch to a different chart. This one might be hard to follow. 2510, though, seems pretty reasonable. But I do feel like we're going to be stuck in here for a minute. I will post this one though. Sorry guys, I'm going through and posting things for my Discord. I do charts like this and analysis like this all the time, so if you're interested in joining the Discord, let me know in the comments and I will throw you the Discord link. You're in the Discord, right? KBLD? Did you join or did you not join? Hold on, let me double check because I don't know. Oh, you did. Okay, let me make you a member. I see you. That's why you can access anything. I need to get I need to figure out how I can get this thing to ping me when people join. Oh well, I did my best. There, you have membership, so now you should be able to see everything. I gotta pay attention to this room. Alright, there's that. Now I can go and throw all the charts in there. Yeah, it was my bad. KBD English KBLD. I needed to go and give you a roll. That was me. My bad, my bad. Forgiveth me, for I have failed you. Alright, let's copy this one. BB is on fire. Alright, let's go to Metsi. Yeah, I'm gonna move Metsi over here to get a cleaner chart. There we go. We did go and touch that price range though. 1692. Pretty impressive in my personal opinion. But I still see that 2767 though incoming for this particular stock. I'm holding true to this. However, I do see that pullback incoming and stuff like that, and I just have to be patient with it. It did validate a lot of my price zones though. This thing stays true to its prices as well. And I love that because it makes it easier for charting for me. 1801 possible resistance. Yeah, it seems to be pretty common. So we're just going to keep that. I'm just going to hold on to what's already here. I don't think I need to add anything else. I'm pretty much tracking overall. Excuse me. What else did I say I needed? I already did ACHR. Did I post BB? Yes, I did. I need to post... Did I post DNUT today? Yes, I did. I need to go post Halliburton. That's the other one. Just post Halliburton. Well, that one's validated. Overall, everything's been pretty consistent. Still waiting for that pullback, but pullback we already know. I already did the dialysis for that. We're just going to post how tracking weakness showing up. I'm just going to tag that. And then what else? There was another chart that I wanted to grab. Let's clear that out. BB, Tesla, nah, fuck all that shit. No. Bath and Body Works. That's the other one I kind of want to get into. Yeah, no, it did come down. I missed entry. That happened the 20th. Man, what the hell? Oh well, whatever. I can't do nothing now. It's over. Oh yeah, because I put price way down here. It was like, I want this price. Well, it's still trending downwards, so I think I actually might get what I want briefly. I think there's going to be a brief moment. I'm going to hold out true to this. I still think we're going to have that massive pullback. good. I want in. I want all the dividends from this thing. I'm gonna buy in just for the dividends. I'm still gonna save this for myself though. I'm gonna throw some prices here. I still feel like we're gonna break down farther. I have this one. $20.46 possible rejection. Damn, dude. I'm gonna add that there. There is a sell here at 19 though, so it could be sooner. Starting to see some bearish divergence. Pullback is imminent. Let's go zoom out a little bit here on the daily. What is you doing? It's possible reversal after Mabe. However, that looks overbought. And it's still kind of weak, so this could be a fake out. All right, let's look farther though. Weekly, what you doing weekly? Yeah, it's a fake out. Pointed downward. Yeah, it's temporary upside. It isn't gonna last. It's not sticking. How about monthly? What you doing? And that just confirms everything. This is like still got some pullback in. So yeah, I could probably get my 15-ish range. Look at that fucking pullback, bro. And it's not letting up either. And even that is stair stepping all the way down. We could miss it though and like start pulling back up. On the off chance it is a death cross, what does death crosses do? Let's look. Oh, this one doesn't have that history. Oof. Oofta. Alright, let's look a little bit deeper then. Let's go to the weekly and see if there's a death cross. Oh, yeah, no, there's already a death cross here. Right here. Yep, okay. Where do we think the bottom's gonna be though? I still think I'm saying 1028. Yeah, I'm gonna say about 1028. Let's go over history here because we have another death cross from previous times on this time frame. As long as it doesn't touch the monthly, we'll be good. I think that's what that line is, if I'm being fucking for real right now. Let's see. Not quite. Because if that were the case, it would already start being like changing directions and dynamics here. However, this is where that death cross is really kind of taking place. So let's just hypothetically, I'm going to put it just on that death cross zone. Yeah, no, I don't think it's going that far. Maybe here. Yeah, that's why people are wanting there. Yeah, not happening. I disagree. I think the furthest we're going to go is maybe 1028 at most. I don't think they're giving up that much resistance. 1442 is the cross that I'll look for though. Tisk. Alright, I'm going to mark my zones real quick and I'm going to also post this one. 20 resistance, ceiling or whatever. Possible $10. Copy that. Malarkey. Go put that there. TP, did you come in? I didn't check yet. I'm looking. Nope, TP ain't in here yet. There we go. I want to know, but this might be outside of my scope. Oh, I didn't even see you. Hi, Solus. How are you? I'm sorry. I just noticed that you were in here. I just scrolled up. I'm sorry. Nice to see you. Yeah, this is the stock market. It's a lot. Takes a lot of like understanding like what you want to invest in. Like basically you just think of a company you're interested in. If you're still in here, of course. But like, yeah, you think of a company you're interested in. And then essentially, like, I can find you good prices to get in and then exit strategies as well. I've been doing it all morning. About an hour now, I think. I think we're about an hour in. I don't know. I'd have to go check, but yeah. Basically, like if you're looking for long-term investment, that's what I do. I can find you zones and give you about approximates when, like not exact dates, but like approximates of when things are going to start shifting in the market and when like you would execute and this and that and the other and how to play smart. But again, I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't give you financial advice, but I can give you like ideas of what to do with your investments, so to speak. You is so very, very, very welcome. Sorry, yawning. Okay, so that's about what I have here. Is there any other tickers you would like to look at today? I know that we talked about a few of them, but I don't remember all the tickers we talked about. Let me look at some more, because it'd be good to have a list of things. I know that Eric is in this one, so maybe I'll do one of them. Just validate. Oh, it's doing good though. Okay, let's go in a little though. Let's go to the 2-hour. Yeah, we've been bouncing between ranges here. We are above though. That's good. So maybe $25 possibilities. Possibilities for exit strategy. I'm just done that because. All right, what was the other ones we were looking at? Oh, this one. I love this one. But I don't think I did the chart on this one. Hold on. PLTR. This was the other one I think we talked about. Oh, I played this one before. Yeah, that's an older one. Hold on. I'm going to go down the list and see where this chart is. I should probably go through and do all my charts on everyone because I can get better like dialysis and stoofy stoof. That was back when I was still starting, dude. That's crazy. I love finding like my old charts from when I had first was like learning and whatnot. Cause I wasn't like dumb. It just I was guessing, you know? Ah, man. So much fun. All right. I think this is the closest one I did. That's an old one, though. I swear I had a chart. I thought we did one recently. Am I stupid or what? I swear. Like, where the hell is it? Oh, shit. Look at that. That fucker's coming down. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. I found it. I found it. Foundsies it. So this one again is another old one. I'm gonna get out of this. Let's put this one back at like, I don't even know. Let's do that one. We'll look at that one, even though I don't really like this one. And we'll put this one somewhere else too, because I can. That's the NVIDIA. All right, and then Sophie's the other one that I gotta go through. I did this one for Eric not too long ago. And it did exactly what I said it was going to do, which is so funny. I said worst case, like we could break down here, but I said about 16-ish. We stayed within my box here, which is perfect. That means that if this can hold and we start trending back along the bottom of this triangle, that we could see more upside. However, this is extremely weak, which means we are setting up for a new run. We're starting to change into a different, what would you call that? Trend line? So Sophie is just following its tracking, following everything that I predicted. 1289 at worst though. Like I'm telling you, it's less likely to happen. If it does, I have a crossing marked just in case, which would mean it would be going further downside. On that chance, you know, we do have a 1205 possible support with that, but I'm saying worst case, if we do break down, we're going to see about $10, which would be a great entry point for anybody who's trying to get into Sophie. But then we're going to start trending in this lower section. I'm being completely honest because I think Sophie just picked up a new business thing. And when that usually happens, some people get mad about it. They'll leave. Others, will be like, oh, I want in because, they got in. So they buy at these higher prices instead of charting. And this thing is coming down to get more buyers in. And who are these buyers? Well, the people that they went into business with. Like when they start coupling, which I'm going to just call it that, even though it's like, what do they do? Partnerships, right? When they start coupling with other businesses, you have to understand, like, they are trying to get their clients in. And they can't exactly go in and manipulate the stock to just get their clients in. So they have to let the stock play out its cycle, okay? And so there's going to be a lot more shorters, and then the shorters are going to bring the stock to, well, I don't know if they necessarily short it per se, but they do push it down, okay? And to get their clients in, like these people that they partnered up with and coupled, they want to get them in so they can get some decent shares at a decent price. So this thing will have to go through its cycle, right? To get people in, they're like going through their thing. So like this is a great opportunity to find entry, this, that, and the other. And then once that happens, and it's going to have a huge like run at some point, which again, that next run, I'm projecting about that 35.73-ish range. Okay. And then this is where I'm kind of projecting the next like triangle formation to happen. Last time, like if you look here, like where I chose to put my little formation here, it was not quite like the top here, right? But I'm projecting in terms of price where this could potentially sit at for this next run based off of overall historical data. I do feel like this might have one more little like loop-de-loo thingy, like how this one had. I think we're gonna get another head and shoulders formation here. When that does happen, this is when we're gonna start seeing that breakdown. However, because this one is here, right here, this little this little hill, okay, I'm gonna call it. I think that was it. And I know that's really silly, but sometimes it does happen that way. Okay. We get some really crazy ones and then we just have like a stump. Okay. And due to that, like, I do think that this could be like that early breakdown, just so it's not like doing whatever. This breakdown will be that entry point. I still think, and I'm still feeling about $10.50 something. With, max pain being somewhere this $8 range. Okay. Now, will that necessarily be the case? No, because it could just hit like 906 at most and then bounce off of there. And then we're back to the races. Just be mindful when you're playing stuff like this, because it happens. You know what I mean? It does happen. And sometimes it just continues to run based on who the business is. Because if you look at like SPY, for instance, like that thing does not know when to quit. Yeah, let's go to NVIDIA here. I think I charted it here. Yes, I did. Okay. And it crossed over what I was kind of projecting here. I'm also on the 2 months, so that's not quite where I was charting. I believe I did the weekly. I did do the weekly. Yeah. Oh, delete that. So I charted this probably back when I was learning stuff. And as you can see, it stayed pretty confluent with where my zones were, but I was with my mentor and charting and stuff like that. So, and we are above currently, and we're starting to trend back down. So this probably will break down into these zones again. I won't chart this one today only because like I'll come back to it with a little bit of a different angle. But yeah, like most companies, when they are, coupling with people or like starting to merge with other businesses, they have to come back down because they want to get their clients in, right? Especially when they're business partners now. So like you get shares and this and that, and they want to get the best price for them. And you can't just, manipulate the market without the market doing its thing. It has to do its thing. Just from my understanding anyway. I could be completely and entirely wrong about it, but like that's just what I get from it. Because like if you think about a lot of like bigger businesses, and when they do become partners with people, like they do get more volume and stuff because these corporations are buying into them, they're investing in them. because they got a percentage of the company, and they want their fair share. They want their chunk of change, but they don't want to pay ridiculous prices. And if you're smart, you know what you're doing, is all I'm saying. Okay. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. It's not financial advice. This is just speculation. Allegedly anyway. Let's go look at, what was that other one? ZS. This one. Is this the one I charted? Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, we are currently breaking into this range again. What's crazy is we're right on the money right now for where I was like saying. Oh, okay, a little bit above it. So I said, I think that one says 34. And then this one's at 46, which isn't too crazy for what it is, right? It's not too crazy. We're right at that line, a little slightly above it, but we're rejecting here at that 50 EMA, which tells me that there's some hella resistance here. There's something that isn't quite where it needs to be in terms of like maybe money, which means this may start consolidating back a little bit or pulling back a smidgen. Let's go look at the weekly. Again, yeah, there it went and bounced off of, it didn't quite cross my 111, but it was still within the range and the proximity of what I was, projecting here. So with that being said, like I'm still impressed overall with what was charted here, because this is just validating a lot of like information that I already knew. But it's still good. This is a V-shaped recovery. Could still reject and come back down. Again, we have a rejection zone up here about 201.27, but it could reject sooner. As we're seeing now, we're rejecting off of some EMAs here. A lot of this death cross is happening as well. This blue line right here, which is my 8 EMA, which is a strong indicator of downside. It did cross quite a few, some important ones, including the 50 EMA and also the 100 EMA. Those are the ones that are the most important. And that just tells me that right now we're just kind of coming down. We might trend in between here for a while. If by chance this 8 EMA can cross back above those two, it will pull price up. Okay. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I will let you know what I see. And in terms of what I am seeing, that we're starting to speed up as well. This is cooling off though. So with that conflicting personality, it could very well be unstable at this current time. So I wouldn't personally play it as a day trader. There's not enough, backing behind it for me to trust my money to playing any type of day trade with us. But you do your due diligence, do whatever you want. I can't control your money. But yeah, for show. I will probably post this one too, because it just validated everything that I did work-wise. So, chicka kaboom. Anyways, I feel like we covered almost everything we needed to. So I might go ahead and cut this live short, because I do got a meeting here in a little bit. I appreciate everyone who watched, and I appreciate you, KBLD, for coming in and supporting me. I appreciate you, Soulless DJ, for coming in and supporting me. I appreciate Daniel Chu for coming in and supporting me. Much appreciated. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on the next one.